down in Langley, late at night. Smart old guys, they play it right. Captain Fun Bobby leads the charge. Silky mitts, Johnny gunshots coming large. Buddy in the slide, all the Chris's in a row. Nighthawks battle, it's a 2-1 show. Jackals, Jackals, rolling down the line. 10:30 puck drop, leaving sleep behind. Jackals, Jackals, no! Every day's Lloyd's birthday here. Whoppers and Fresca raise a cheer. Don't forget a shower beer. Check Pap's beard for lost gear. Jackals, Jackals, rolling down the line. 10:30 puck drop, leaving sleep behind. Jackals, Jackals, Jackals. Langley Twin Rinks, empty seats. Chili and buns, Christmas eats. A Chargers hat for tailgate. Nachos for the lady bing. Jackals, Jackals, rock and roll train. Jackals, Jackals, you can't stop the rain. Jackals.
Jackals TV returns, and we are here to watch the Jackals take the ice there on the left side of the screen in their white jerseys against the Average Joes, which will be on the right wearing the yellow jerseys with red trim. The regular season is winding down for the Jackals, just 4 games remaining on the schedule, including this one before the playoffs start. The Jackals had played the Average Joes once before this season when they got moved to this division. That was a 3-0 loss for the Jackals. The Jackals have produced points in 3 of their last 4 games, 2 of those victories and 1 overtime loss, and then throw in a 3-1 regulation loss to the Showerhogs in that stretch. So that's a decent stretch considering the season the Jackals have had so far. And so with so few games left before the playoffs start, they'll be looking to build some momentum towards a potential successful playoff run. The Jackals will be a little undermanned today, 11 skaters, as they have 5 regulars out of the lineup. Bruce, John, Rob, David, and Lloyd all out of the lineup. 1 spare in. Mark Hogan here to help out and continue his play with the team, this being his 3rd game in the last 4 as well. So let's head to the highlights. Jackals going to get the first opportunity in this one. Jared moving that puck over to Chris Marshall. He whips it up high off the goaltender's glove, and Jared comes in a little too late to get to the rebound. Here are the Joes at center ice, coming down the left side. Player all alone in the middle of the ice. Backchecker can't get there in time. There's a backhand off the post, and then a player wide open on the right side, and a pad stack straight from the 80s into your living room. Oh boy, let's have another look at that one.
Over the line, cutting in on goal, he centered it. McLean, a marvelous save. They turned the red light on, but that wasn't a goal. It was a spectacular save by Kirk McLean.
The play now back down in the other end. Gary down the wall from the point, and he's going to circle around behind that. Throw it up front, but it's tipped through to Bob on the wrong hand, so he has to collect it, put it back down to Gary down low, and he throws it out front to Chris Weeger, who goes to the backhand and shovels it towards the net. Goaltender, though, comes across and saves that in the chest. The Joes poke this puck out to center, and it doesn't go far enough to get to Gary, so that player is able to go around him. Bob has it briefly for a second, but it gets chopped over to the player on the left side, and he throws it towards the net, but it's up over the crossbar. Joes still on the attack, though, have the puck here down behind the net, taking it into this corner, and that player is going to reverse it and then go high up around the circle and get the play back, and then he shovels it towards the net. Looked like maybe Gary got a piece of it there, and it's going to flutter past the glove of Trevor, and the Joes are on the board with a 1-0 lead. Here come the Joes again. This time they're going to misplay that puck at the blue line, but it's going to work out for them as Bob gets stuck standing still, and that player comes in on the left, gets the shot up high, but it's off Trevor's shoulder up high in the air until Chris Weeger bats it down. Darwin taking this face-off and goes just behind the face-off man, and he pursues it and ends up with it all alone in front. He sweeps it towards the net, but another save there from the Joes goalie. There's a centering pass by the Joes that goes off Bob's foot. It goes out to Chris Marshall. So he's going to take the puck through the neutral zone, drive it wide. He has the defender beat. He's going hard to the front of the net. He gets a piece of the shot on net and then tumbles over the top of the goaltender's leg. Puck remains loose. Daryl's going to retrieve it behind the net and just throw it out front. And it's going to go through Chris Marshall and end up in Darwin's feet, who he neatly kicks it up to his forehand. But as he does that, it just whiffs past his blade. Play is going to continue. And now we're going to focus in front of the net. Chris Marshall setting up in front of the net, trying to get on the nerves of the defender and the goalie, and he is going to accomplish that as this player with the red pants is going to come back and just put his glove right into Chris's face and bowl him over. And they're going to argue about it a little bit. I think the defender's like, hey, get away from the goalie, but Chris is like, you pushed me right on top of her. And that's going to send number 2 to the penalty box. 2 minutes for roughing, so power play for the Jackals. And here's a shot towards the net by Darwin after getting the puck dropped to him by Chris Weeger. And Aaron's going to retrieve it in the corner, button hook away from that player, show some patience. He's going to find Gary over here on the left side, and he's just going to wait till he has a ton of traffic and put the shot through. And somehow that hits nothing on the way by, and you can tell the goaltender could not see anything there with the double screen in front. And Gary has a power play goal and has tied this game up as 1. A couple of sticks reaching it for it there, but it seems like that did go straight in. So to the second period we go. Jares moving the puck up here eventually to Chris Stuhar. It bounces off him, so he has to regroup. And then he sees Aaron coming, so a neat little backhand pass feeds him for this big shot from just at the top of the ringette line, but it's saved by the goalie. Joe's coming through the neutral zone, and they're going to pass this puck up and turn it into a 2-on-1. But watch Jason Davis. He comes back hard, and he's going to get there just in time to disrupt that pass across and take away a good scoring chance. Here's Jer pursuing a puck down the right wall. He's got that defender in trouble. He has the puck in behind him, so the defender is forced to hold him up along the wall, and the referee is going to catch that and call a 2-minute interference penalty and give the Jackals a chance to look for their second power play goal of this game. It's going to be Daryl out at the point. He's going to move it over here to Gary, who sees bodies in front, and he's going to throw the puck there, and it just misses Jason Davis at the back door. Power play does continue, though. Daryl again lugging it across the line, getting set up after the zone entry. He's going to hold the puck all the way in behind the net. He's going to go off screen. He's going to bounce it off the wall up here to Chris Weeger. He's going to slide it over to Gary, and similar to that first goal, he's going to put the puck through a whole bunch of traffic, and somehow no one touches it, and it's Gary's power play goal once again. The first one was up high. This one is down low, and despite the number of sticks reaching for it, it's a very similar play where it's a double screen in front, and it's through, and it's another power play goal and a 2-1 lead for the Jackals. Potentially dangerous play here as Trevor rims this around the wall. It hits the Zamboni door and comes out awkwardly to Bob, who shovels it to the point, and then that player rips it high and hard, and luckily Bob was able to turn his head just before it struck. There's a lot of calamity happening in this game with pucks getting cleared up the wall. Here's another one. Gary throws up the wall, and the Joes are in the middle of a change. You can see the one player stepped on the ice, and this player who cruised towards us was the person he was changing for. So that's a clear too many men on the ice penalty as the puck hit the player who was coming off the bench. And the power play for the Jackals has been lethal so far with 2 power play goals, so they're looking for a third. Puck gets moved over here to Darwin on the right side. Shot, and then the rebound comes out, but it's in the air, and Daryl swings at it, but he can't make contact. Power play does continue, however, and this attempted pass from Darwin back to Daryl is going to get intercepted. Daryl is forced to get in that player's way in an attempt to stop him. It doesn't work. He's going to go in alone on the right side and tries to shoot blocker. Gary comes sliding in, and Trevor makes a nice save, but Daryl is still going to get 2 minutes there for holding, and that's going to negate that power play, and we're going to eventually end up here back 5-on-5. But that will be brief as Darwin is attempting to check that player at center ice, and he's going to get wrapped up with him and draw a hooking penalty and send the Joes to the power play. Jason nearly has this puck out at the point, but instead he accidentally sweeps it over to this Joes player, who then going to walk in down the middle, beats the player there, and then Daryl sticks his stick in and deflects that shot up over the glass. Less than 20 seconds here remaining in the second period. Draw in this zone. They're going to work it over to the right side, throw it towards the front of the net there, and it gets swept over to the player on the left side who's all alone and has a ton of net. And he's going to not make a mistake. That's going to go in, and we're going to have ourselves a 2-2 tie as we head to the third period. Early in the period, we have a puck that just won't sit down. It's just skipping around there for the offensive Jackal players. So it's going to get turned around and back the other way. Bad pass, so Daryl picks it up, and he's just going to try to do a D-to-D pass over to Bob, but it's going to hit the shaft of that player's stick. Trevor makes the initial save, doesn't realize, though, the puck is sitting there loose by his pads, and that player tucks in the rebound to give the Joes a 3-2 lead. Joe's coming again, this time on a 3-on-2. Puck here is just going to hold on to it, slash down the middle, and turn this into a 2-on-1 down low, and he passes it across, but it's off that player's stick and harmlessly wide. Jackals pressing the tie here on the forecheck. A nice work by Chris Marshall along the wall to steal that puck and find Chris Weeger coming in from the high slot, and he throws that towards the net, but it hits the defender's shin pads and heads out to the corner. The play remains in the Joe zone, and here comes Chris Marshall off the ice, and that's relevant because Mark steps on, and he's just going to pick this pass off, a terrible pass, throws it towards the net where Chris Weeger is alone in front, and he gets tipped up in the air and off the goaltender's shoulder, and then lands in the corner. Here's a nice point shot by Gary that's tipped by Darwin, and then the Joe is fired up the wall, and you can see the puck make contact with the Joe's player and then just skip its way past Gary, who doesn't really try to get it. Looks like he probably could have got it, and the ref agrees and says, that is not going to be an icing call. You had a chance to play that puck, which is going to fire up Gary for the rest of this game, as you may imagine. Here's Aaron with a drop pass to Gary and a big slap shot that misses on the right side, but Jerry reads it, picks it up. He's going to try a slap shot of his own. It's up high and it's hard, but it's off the helmet of the goaltender. He comes in to apologize for that play, but the goaltender is going to need some time to reset herself after that direct shot into the mask area. You can see the referee appears to be talking to Gary about that last icing call that we showed, a dispute about whether that should have been waved off or not. So now with the play back in the Jackal zone, we'll focus on Gary guarding the front of the net. This player's going to come out from behind the net. Gary's going to notice he's there and come across and get his stick in there, and then he's going to get the cross check across the head area of that player, and then when the player comes back at him, there's a cross check to the face area. So Gary is going to get a double minor for cross-checking there. I'm not sure if it was for the initial one up high or the second one when the player was down low on the ice pushing back against him. But it's going to be a 4-minute penalty with only about 6 minutes left in this game and the Jackals trailing by 1. And with only a few seconds left in the 4-minute penalty, it looks like maybe the Jackals are going to get away with it. But this player is circling around down low. He's going to put this puck out to the point. Trevor has the save, and it's sitting there in front of him, and he tries to use his stick to drag it over to his glove so he can cover it up, but he misses it, and it goes under the glove and to the Joe's player that is alone in front, who then puts it into the empty net and has stretched the Joe's lead here to 2 with about 2 minutes to go in this game. On the ensuing face-off, Gary's going to take out some more frustration. You see he's there on the ice, this time playing on the right side. And as this player picks it up and goes along the wall, the camera misses it, but Gary comes in with a body check into the wall. He's going to take a gloved punch from that Joe's player. So the Jackals are lucky that they won't have to kill a penalty here at least. Those going to be coincidental calls, 2 minutes each for roughing. So it's still going to be 5-on-5, and the Jackals are still going to have a chance here late in this game. Just 40 seconds to go in the game now. Mark ends up with the puck in the corner, goes up to the half wall. He's looking, and he's eventually going to put a shot through. It's off the goalie, behind the net where Chris Weeger is. Empty net for the wraparound. He can't quite get there in time. I think the defender's stick maybe got in the way. Then Chris Marshall comes and gets one swing at it, and the rebound's laying there. He gets it back and pulls it over a little bit and puts it in off the post. And with just under 30 seconds left to play, the Jackals have made a game of this one. Now they're only down by 1. You can see on the wraparound part of this, there's a lot of net there, but I think the puck just rolled off of Chris Weeger's stick and hit the goalie instead. And then there's just a battle in front. There's the first shot by Chris Marshall. The puck is still laying there. He's the only one that knows where it is, so he digs it out and then puts it in off the post. It was, however, ultimately too little too late for the Jackals. They do lose this game 4-3. It was, however, a strong outing for the Jackals. A bit unlucky not to have a better result in that game. They did outshoot the Joes 31-23, and there you can see on the stats for the game, strong games from Gary Pabla and Chris Weeger, each with 2 points. Also worthy of note, Mark Hogan with an assist in this game, his first point for the Jackals in 6.5 years. Have a look at the season stats now. Gary moving up. He's just 1 point behind Aaron for the team lead. Now let's have a look at the out-of-town scoreboard for the week. There you see the 4-3 loss there by the Jackals. Some other results by the other teams. Hornets with a big win over the Rare Rockets, which is the Jackals' next opponent. Let's have a look at the standings. See that the Rare Rockets are there in 3rd place. Jackals remain mired in 7th place, and at this point in the season with just 3 games left, they're going to finish either 7th or 8th, depending on how those 3 games go. So let's have a look at the week ahead. There you see that game against the Rare Rockets that I mentioned earlier, and the Steers are playing the Shower Hogs in that battle for last place. And with that, we'll see you next week.